Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. It's Jamar back from Vegas Scents. And as the title says, we're going over 5 fragrances from the house of Lattafa. And if you're brand new to the channel, go ahead and do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. Also leave a like and a comment below. And please share the video if you like the information in the video. So just to get straight into this video, man, pretty much these 5 fragrances are 5 of some of the best Lataffa fragrances that I have in my collection right now. So obviously there's going to be fragrances on this list that, maybe some people may not, totally agree with, or maybe you might think that I should have had other fragrances on this list. If I don't have a fragrance on this list, more than likely it's just because I don't have the fragrance in my possession right now. All right. So just to start the list off, I'm going to start this list off with Badee Al Oud Amethyst by Lattafa. All right. So Badee Al Oud Amethyst, a lot of people initially kind of dubbed this as being like a Initio, Initio Atomic Rose clone. I haven't smelled this particular fragrance, the Initio Atomic Rose. So I can't say exactly how close this is to that particular fragrance, but I know from, just watching other people, they pretty much said that this isn't necessarily a clone of that particular fragrance. It's kind of like a more of an inspired type of fragrance. And in my opinion, this is definitely one that I didn't necessarily like when I first got this particular fragrance. It did smell like really sort of medicinal to me, and really kind of synthetic. And even as I smell it now, it does have a sort of synthetic kind of jammy type of rose smell to it. And also a really kind of synthetic type of oud. But the more that I wear this particular fragrance, the more that I smell it, the more that I, actually do like it. This pretty much, if you're not familiar with how this smells, it opens like with a really sweet jammy rose. And then pretty much it kind of dries down to a really sort of aromatic floral. And I would say definitely like a light sort of aromatic type of oud. So this isn't going to be like your super animalic, strong Middle Eastern type of oud. This is definitely going to be more so on like the sort of fresher, westernized type of oud smell. All right. Performance on this is absolutely beast mode. 12 plus hours on skin. You get a lot of projection, at least for probably the first 2.5 hours or so. And several feet of CI. So again, that one is Badee Al Oud Amethyst by Lattafa. So the next one up, this was one of the first, Lattafa fragrances that I actually picked up. The very first one that I picked up was the Oud for Glory, I believe. But this one I definitely picked up shortly after. And this is Fakhar Black by Lattafa. And Fakhar Black, this is basically, it's not a 100% clone of YSL EDP. This is more kind of like YSL with a twist, or kind of like an inspiration of it. It opens up very similar to the way that YSL does. The main difference though that I get with this fragrance is it does smell slightly lower quality than what the YSL does, so it's not as smooth. And there's also a sort of added spice to this. It smells like cinnamon is what I get, in terms of the added spice with this particular fragrance. And in my opinion, it's very sort of similar to like the cinnamon that you get in something like Rasasi Hawass. It smells, in my opinion, pretty similar to that. So if you like that YSL EDP, scent DNA, but you don't necessarily want to buy, like I don't know what that bottle goes for now. I want to say probably $90 to $100 for like a 100 ml bottle. If you don't necessarily want to spend that much, then I think this is a really good alternative to that. This typically goes for like around $20 to $25, pretty much everywhere for the most part. And I mean, for the performance that you get out of this, it does perform very well. And I'm able to smell this a lot longer than I can the YSL-Y EDP. I tend to go nose blind to YSL-Y EDP in like probably 35 to 45 minutes. With this one, I can typically smell this for at least probably 7 hours or so or more. So again, this one is Fakhar Black by Lataffa. The next fragrance up, this was also a really anticipated fragrance that I picked up, I want to say around this time last year. And this is definitely, it's a pineapple bomb. This is Qaed Al Fursan by Lataffa. So Qaed Al Fursan, this pretty much is just, I would say probably the sweetest sort of pineapple that you can think of. So think of when you're going to the grocery store and you see like those cans of Dole pineapples, like the pineapple rings, and they've got like the pineapples that they have in 100% pineapple juice, and then you've got the pineapples that are in like the syrup. This is going to be the pineapple that's in the syrup. This is super sweet, super sticky, but at the same time, this isn't like a super heavy or thick type of fragrance. This is still a very fresh fragrance. I would definitely recommend this one for the high heat. But it's like the most sort of realistic, super sweet, sticky, candied kind of, pineapple mixed with saffron. All right. So the saffron kind of gives it a slightly sort of sweet, leathery touch as well. And I think that's where some people kind of, get the comparison to Creed Aventus mixed with Baccarat Rouge when describing this particular fragrance, is because, obviously the pineapple for Aventus and then the saffron for Baccarat Rouge. I don't think that this smells like either one of those in my opinion, but it has, I guess you could say, touches from each one of those fragrances. This also lasts a pretty good time on me, at least about 10 plus hours on skin. It has really good projection for about the first hour and a half or so. And the sillage is, at least about 3 to 5 feet probably, I would say. All right. So again, this is Qaed Al Fursan by Lataffa. All right, and so the next one up, this is my favorite fragrance from Lataffa for sure. This is their take on Bulgari's Tiger, and this is Lataffa's Alcayam Silver. All right, so this is from the higher end Lataffa Pride line. So pretty much a lot of the fragrances, or I guess you say all of the fragrances in that particular Lataffa Pride line, are supposed to be a little bit higher quality, than the just regular baseline Lataffa line. And I mean, I'm pretty satisfied with what I get from this fragrance, when it comes to how it sort of interprets that Bulgari Tiger DNA. I've done, a couple videos on this fragrance comparing it to, Bulgari's Tiger. I didn't see enough of a difference necessarily to, pick up a bottle of the real thing. I get, a pretty good experience wearing this particular fragrance. The grapefruit, the ginger, the musk, all of that is done very well, in my opinion, in this particular fragrance. And I mean, in terms of performance, the performance I would say is about average. I think this is definitely the weakest performing fragrance out of all of the ones on this particular list. But I mean, at the same time, I still get about 6 to 7 hours or so of longevity on skin with this one, a little bit longer on clothes. And in terms of projection and sillage, the projection on this is pretty solid for at least about the first hour and a half or so. And really good sillage, at least about 4 feet or so for about the first hour and a half. All right, so definitely, again, if you're looking for a really well done but cheap Bulgari Tiger clone, then I would definitely recommend this one. I haven't smelled the Tarathi Blue by Afnan, so I can't really speak to how close that one is to Tiger, but I do really like this one. I really do. So again, this one is Lataffa Pride's Alcayam Silver. All right, and so the last fragrance, this is definitely one of the most hyped Lataffa fragrances probably within the last year or so. And this is more on like the gourmand sort of side of things. This is Lataffa's Khamrah. All right, so Khamrah, this one has been kind of heralded as like the best sort of by Kilian's Angel Share clone. This is definitely, it's not a clone in my opinion. This is definitely more so like an inspiration of that particular fragrance. But what I can honestly say is after smelling the original Angel Share, and also after smelling, another really great clone of that fragrance, which in my opinion, I think is the best clone of it, Alexandria Fragrances Brooklyn Fragrance Lover. After smelling that one and the original, I think that I do actually prefer the way that this one smells. This is definitely, it's thicker, it's louder, it's sweeter. In my opinion, when you first spray this on, it's also, it's boozier, in my opinion. It definitely is boozier. And like I said, the way that this one comes off of my skin, at least, it really kind of screams off of me, at least for probably the first 2.5 hours or so. And then, I mean, after that, even once it starts to kind of, settle down a little bit, it never really becomes like a faint sort of skin scent on me. Like, this is something that I get a scent bubble from pretty much, the entire rest of the day for the most part. I haven't gotten any compliments on this particular fragrance yet, but I mean, at the same time, I haven't even had this fragrance a whole year yet. It's probably been like around 7 months or so now. And I mean, most of those months have been warmer months where I haven't really been wearing this particular fragrance. So definitely, that'll probably change once it starts to cool back down out here. But regardless of compliments, I absolutely love wearing this particular fragrance. This is definitely, in my opinion, one of the more better sort of gourmand types of fragrances, at least in my opinion. So again, this is Lataffa's Camera. All right, so that's the list, man. Definitely let me know what you think about the list. Let me know if you've smelled any or all of these particular fragrances. And like I said, again, any sort of fragrances that are really popular from Lataffa that are not on this list, I either just don't have them, or I just decided to pick these fragrances over those, honestly. All right, so let me know in the comments, which ones do you all have from Lataffa? Have you all smelled these particular fragrances? And once again, if you're brand new to the channel, go ahead and do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave a like and a comment below. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you on the next video.